see, and in the middle of the summer, we had to go out in the middle of the heat, 5 times in a row. Every day I was there, they would make us go outside. It was hot. I would rather deal with the rain and get wet than being hot. Herpes can infect every single tissue of the body. And so it can cause things like blindness. It can cause things like blindness, it can cause encephalitis, it can cause infections of every single tissue of the body. And that's important. Any questions about herpes? How do you get herpes? Contact. What kind of contact? By shaking hands? No, not by shaking hands.
Kissing.
Oh, okay, you simplex 1, you can do it by kissing. Simplex 2? Intercourse. Or other forms of, sex. Okay? Good? Alright. So now we talk about the most diabolical infectious agent ever, and this is HIV. HIV to me is the most diabolical because it has evolved to infect the one thing in our body that has the ability to turn on the immune system, and that's a T4 helper, also known as a CD4. Okay? The virus will only infect those cells. And so it will continue to infect cells until the virus has almost destroyed all of the T4 helper. And once that happens, once it gets below a certain threshold, and so they keep moving, it's 350 to 200. Jay, who is in the morning class, works in sexual health now, and Jay has said that it's 200 again, so I'm going to probably change that really quickly when we get to the next page. Right. But this is a very famous photograph. It was grayscale, but we added color to it so that you can see that here is the virus. This is a white blood cell. This is a T4 helper, and that is something else is attached to. But the viruses get in and destroy the T4 helper. And once a T4 helper is destroyed, the way it works is the T4 helper is kind of wandering around the body, and then a CD8, a cytotoxic destroyer of things, will actually communicate with it and give it information. Thank you. And then it says, hey, there's this thing in our body we need to be sure of, and it sends out all these ligands, all these signals that basically are, they call cytokines. The cytokines tell the rest of the immune system to initiate the processes, right? So the T lymphocytes grow in numbers, the beta lymphocytes grow in numbers, right? And the beta lymphocytes then produce plasma cells which secrete immunoglobulins, antibodies. And so you're protected. Well, if the T4 helper is not there, that never gets turned on. And so you become immunocompromised. There's a difference between being HIV positive and having AIDS. To be HIV positive just means you have the virus in you. And if you take care of yourself and do some things, you can live a perfectly great life with not a lot of problems. If something happens and you don't get treatment, then we know that if you develop symptomology, so you can see here's the lytic cycle. It's very similar, except instead of calling it attachment or adsorption, they're calling it fusion. But the virus gets in, and then the nucleic acid takes over and you produce a whole bunch of more viruses. But the symptomology from going HIV positive to having full-blown AIDS is you have to be HIV positive, you have to have an opportunistic disease within the last 6 months, and your T4 helpers have to be below 200. It says 300 there because the last time I checked, it was 300. But Jay said earlier that they're back at 200. So let me change that real quickly and save it so that we go on. Okay. Anybody have questions? So it's below 200. Once that happens, you become immunocompromised. And when you become immunocompromised, lots of things can happen to you. Lots of infectious agents that are opportunistic that usually don't cause us any troubles can actually cause us troubles. And so tuberculosis, you can have cytomegalovirus infections, you can have infections by different viruses like herpes and other things, right? Toxoplasma that can cause meningitis and encephalitis. You can have pneumocystis jirovecii pneumonia, which is probably with us all the time, and you just never get affected by it unless you don't have an immune system, and then it can be very problematic. Right? You can get esophagitis by candida, you can get chronic diarrhea by cryptosporidium, and this is called Kaposi sarcoma. We never saw that except in Italian males in their late 50s. And during the outbreak of AIDS or HIV in San Francisco specifically, we saw a lot of 19, 20, 22, 24-year-olds that had Kaposi sarcoma.
But that's caused by Epstein-Barr virus, right?
It's caused by what?
Epstein-Barr virus?
I'm not sure if the Epstein-Barr virus is in there. Look it up real quick, Doc. But I'm not sure if that's the causative agent of Kaposi sarcoma. But it is, I think, viral mediated. Okay. Usually, in Italian men in their 50s, it's genetic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty interesting to think about how this might be. This is the lungs that have been infected by TB, and so you can see all the infiltration of the lungs. Usually healthy lungs, if you take a radiograph, they're dark, because that's the way that the lungs will actually show up on a radiograph. What'd you find out?
No, it's caused as a co-infection with Epstein-Barr virus, but that's not it.
Okay. So here is wasting disease, and so wasting disease in humans simply means that the virus is taking a toll on you, and it is destroying the other parts of the body are not working physiologically. You start to have kidney failure, and you lose your appetite, and so then the body starts to digest those nutrients that are available, which would be protein mostly, and you start to lose a lot of weight, and you become very weak, and you pass away. This same process doesn't happen just in AIDS. It happens in a lot of terminal diseases. I watched my father go through this. He had adenocarcinoma of the stomach that had metastasized. He was about 240 pounds when he was at his prime. Right? Then he got cancer, and when he died, he was about 103 pounds. So he was a little thin guy, but he was wasting away. And so it's important for us to understand those kind of things.
Once cancer reaches your lungs, once cancer reaches your lungs, is there a way to, can it help cure that?
Yeah. There's this really cool drug right now called Keytruda, and it works really good against lung cancer. It works against some other types of cancer, but that's what it's most famous for.
Can you request it? Like for a patient, like if I to
You couldn't, but your patient could. Yeah. So you could go and see if the doctor will prescribe it for it. It works on point mutation. Will you check on this for me? Be sure. Keytruda for lung cancer, because it's Keytruda, because it's been around a long time, but now I think it's being like taken and being used for other things also. But where most of the treatments is actually done so that it treats the entire body, and you get really sick and lose all your hair. Keytruda only attacks the point mutation of the cancer, and therefore you don't lose your hair, but it works better than the other drugs. Is it for lungs only?
Yes, it's approved as a first-line treatment.
Yeah.
Okay. Non-small cell lung cancer.
Okay, so a certain type of lung cancer.
Certain types of lung cancer.
Okay, thank you. So the other thing you can do, which is much more invasive, is if the lung cancer is in one lung, you take out the lung. And Miss, what? Why are you shaking your head at me, Miss Brito? She's like, no. To me, if you've got cancer, the one way to be sure get rid of it is to cut it out. Okay? And you can live perfectly, you have 2 lungs, you can live perfectly well with 1 lung, except you probably won't run a marathon. Well, who wants to run a marathon anyway? Too far. Okay? Any questions? Okay. So what's really cool about HIV is we've done so much research, because it showed up in the early 80s, and it really didn't peak in the US until around 1992 or something like that. We've been doing research the whole time, and we have some really great drugs that work against it. Now, it doesn't cure it, but what it does is it stops the actual destruction of all the T4 helper. And so the old term, which I still like because it's very important, because it tells us what it is, it's HAART, and it stands for highly active antiretroviral therapy. Nowadays, they don't want to use all those letters in the acronym, so they just simply go to ART or CART, but they're the same thing, right? And what they basically do is they give a combination of 2 or 3 drugs, and these 2 or 3 drugs are specific for HIV. And what they do is, some of them don't allow the ingress of the virus into the genome. Some of them don't allow the attachment of a virus to the cell. Some of them don't allow certain viral proteins to be made. Some of them don't allow the viral nucleic acid to be made. So they do different things. But if you take this, you can live a perfectly great life for a long period of time. But at some point, the cocktail, it's called the cocktail, it doesn't work. And you succumb to all kinds of problems. Magic Johnson, do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Okay, so one person knows who Magic Johnson is. Oh my God.
Yeah, he was diagnosed
A long time ago.
A long time, but you have enough money in
Yeah, so he was diagnosed with HIV. He's a famous basketball player.
94, I think.
Somewhere around there. And he took the cocktail and looks great. He's the only person who had HIV and gained a lot of weight, right? But he's perfectly normal and healthy. But he's very wealthy, and so he has his own physician that travels with him. That's pretty cool, I'll pay you $200,000 a year if you just work for me. All right, and that's not bad. All I have to do is take care of this one guy. Be okay with me. And then I get to go any place he goes. So he goes to Italy, I go to Italy with him. That's not bad. I like that. But he has his own nutritionist, he has his own personal assistant, and they do different things for him. The personal assistant makes sure he takes his drugs when he has to. Right? Everything is taken care of. All he has to do is show up and talk, and he gets a lot of money for that because he's a very dynamic speaker, very inspirational. So, yeah.
So did Freddie Mercury not take any medicine or?
And he might have during the latter parts of the disease, but by then it was so far advanced that Freddie was, I don't know, Freddie was diagnosed, I don't remember when, but he did Live Aid, you remember? You might be too young.
I don't remember,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I
Okay. So he did Live Aid and he died like 6 months after that.
Yeah.
But he was a gift to us all.
They didn't have the advanced medicine though.
That
back
is
then.
true, they didn't
Yeah.
have back then, right?
Yeah.
But Freddie was Freddie. How do you know about Freddie Mercury if you're so young?
A movie.
Oh, you know Queen, okay.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at? No, not everybody. How many people know Queen? Okay, some of them. It's one of my favorite groups, for sure. Freddie was.
Like one of the longest songs.
What's that?
They made one of the, I think it's still to this day the longest song.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites.
7 minutes or whatever.
One of my favorites. Okay. Anybody have questions about the cocktail? Okay. So, now that brings me to PrEP and PEP. You should know what PrEP and PEP are. PEP is the post-exposure prophylaxis. So if you have sex with somebody and then they say, oh, I forgot to tell you I'm HIV positive, you're like, what? You can go and take that drug, it's a combination of drugs, It's called post-exposure prophylaxis, and hopefully you won't get HIV. The other one is PrEP, and PrEP stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis. Prophylaxis is taken to protect you. So if people, PrEP was intended to be for individuals who were in a monogamous relationship with somebody who was HIV positive. You would take it and then you could have sex, but if you took it every day, you minimize the risk of actually having. I've heard, and I can't confirm this, but I've heard the protection rate is fairly high. I can't give you a number because I know Ms. Brito's gonna want a number. But I can't give you a number because I just haven't read the paper. Jay said that they were gonna send it to me so that I could read it and then I could report on it, but I haven't read it yet, so I don't wanna give a number. Right? And so it's really important. But PrEP to me is being misused because a lot of people are using it. And you see the advertisement on buses and on billboards, they're everywhere. They're completely over marketing this stuff. And now people are thinking that if you take this, you're just never gonna get HIV. And people think, because when the physician tells them, or the pharmacist tells them, you need to be sure you take it every day, they hear what? Take it one time and you're protected, and that's what they hear. So they're not very good about compliance, taking the drug, and therefore they open themselves up to potentially acquiring HIV. And this is, if you're in a monogamous relationship, and to me, it's not very romantic, but to me, if you're starting a relationship with somebody and you decide to go to the next level and have sex, to me, you should both go and get tested for the big four, right? Which are, right, HIV, herpes, gonorrhea, and chlamydia. You should get tested for those. And then if you test negative for all those, do whatever you want, But if one of you tests positive for one of them, well, then now you have to think about it. Okay, I don't know. The other thing you should be aware of is if you're about to engage and it doesn't look right, maybe you watch a movie instead. And then find a way to let them off easy.
Watch Bohemian Rhapsody.
Did you have a question? Yeah.
I know that, like, with my grandmother, back then, they required you to get tested before they would allow you to get married. They don't do that anymore, right?
They never
That was
did that.
back-
They never did that for HIV.
No, I meant, but like back
Syphilis.
in the 60s, I think?
Syphilis. They required you to get tested for
Okay.
syphilis. They don't do that anymore. Skin cell right. Well, that stemmed from something that we did that wasn't very good. Does anybody know what we did? Nobody has heard of the Tuskegee experiment. Where have you all been?
Got warm.
Look what she said, not alive. I'm like, what? You're saying I'm old? Is that what you're saying?
Weren't even an inch in our dad's pants.
In Tuskegee, we told a lot of people in that population who happened to be mostly black that we were treating them for syphilis, but we were giving them vitamin C because we were studying, the government was studying the effect. Huh?
Vitamin C.
So we told the population we were treating them for syphilis, we were giving them placebo, we were giving them vitamin C. And the government was studying the effects of syphilis on the body. It just didn't happen in the States, it happened in other countries also. So after that, when they found out, and people for a period of time were asked to be tested for syphilis before you got married. Because in those days, when you got married, that means that you were going to have children, and the consequences, the effects of having syphilis and you're pregnant are astronomically bad. terrible infection on the developing fetus. So that's where that came from.
What was it called?
But
What you're talking about earlier?
the Tuskegee experiment, can you tell me where it happened?
Yeah, I'm reading on it right now, and it lasted 40 years
40 years? I didn't know it went that
in
long.
Alabama.
That's
Yeah. 1932 and lasted 40 years. After that. 32. Oh, you mean, yeah, when it ended, yeah.
The human population has not been good to ourselves throughout history. Okay? I can't believe y'all didn't know about the Tuskegee experiment.
that gets swept under our rug.
Mm-hmm.
I knew about it.
That's
Well, you
crazy.
know about a
Yeah,
lot of
you're.
stuff.
Oh.
We're gonna make you go into this.
You want to become a microbiologist now, don't you? And I'm going to tell you, you'd be a wonderful one. You're very interesting. Wait till you do your unknown. And I'm going to give you the hardest organism.
Okay, no.
Because I'm going to pick on your weaknesses, and you don't have a lot. So I'm going to give you the hardest one ever.
I fake it till I make it, trust.
I don't believe that one. Y'all are going to get all. I'm going to pick on your weaknesses today. We're going to see who comes out without a scratch on the other end. It's like a puzzle.
So you've identified all of your weaknesses.
Oh yeah, you know that. I knew your weaknesses in 1311.
The worst is SRS.
What's that?
The worst one is SRS. Don't get that one.
You're not gonna get that one. It's too easy.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
You're trying to reverse.
I'm trying to
Reverse psychology.
She's like,
Oh, no.
I'm gonna make him think that I don't believe in that, and then he'll give me something easy. Wrong. Wrong. Oh, by the way, the Staph aureus that I use doesn't look like Staph aureus. It doesn't show up golden, it shows up white. It's a mutated strain because I don't want anybody to
John knows.
immediately, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
He's not gonna be
Anybody have questions about PrEP or PEP? I don't have a problem with use it if they use it responsibly. But if they use it irresponsibly, then they could transmit HIV to somebody who really shouldn't have HIV.
And what is irresponsibly again?
Irresponsibly is
Well,
if you are in a relationship or if you're doing something promiscuous, you know what I mean? Like, go one night in, like, oh, he's really cute, let's see what happens. Or multiple partners, right? Fred on Monday, Jim on Tuesday, Tim on Thursday, you know. Take a break on Friday, Saturday, whatever happens, happens. But you know, this happens. Annalisa, what are you doing that for? I'm not saying you, girl. I'm saying, but you know it happens, right? And so that's their response.
So is it something for life? They have to take
HIV?
the prop and
No, not this. So this is to not get it. But if you get it, it's the cocktail, and the cocktail is for life. Okay? Good. Oh, and by the way, they're the same drugs. They're just used in different dosages. Okay? Okay. So we leave today with talking about prions. So prions are infectious proteins, and to me they're scary because we don't know how to control them. There's a lot of people doing some research, but I think most of it's been stopped because there's not a lot of cases of prionic disease right now. The problem is we don't know what the true ramification is because you don't see symptomology very quickly. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to progress. These are infectious proteins that they replicate by just simply doing this. They just bump into other proteins, and then this protein becomes like meat. That's all they have to do. There's a conformational change that happens in this protein, and this protein becomes like meat. The most famous, or the most commonly understood prionic disease is mad cow disease. Now, mad cow disease is kind of for the average person to understand. Mad cow disease is called bovine spongiform encephalopathy. That's a mouthful. Bovine spongiform encephalopathy. It's called bovine spongiform because there are cavities in the brain, and the brain, what's supposed to be very dense, looks like a sponge. And therefore, you lose cognitive and neuromuscular ability when you develop this type of infection. And mostly we acquire it from eating contaminated meat, although you could get it with transplants, you could get it through blood transfusions, but mostly it's going to be from eating contaminated meat. If you ever give blood, one of the first questions they ask you is, were you in the UK or France from the years 1999 to 2001? And if you were in those two countries in that time period, they had a huge outbreak of mad cow disease. They destroyed all their cattle. But therefore, you were potentially exposed, and you could never donate blood. Okay. And so that's an important thing to think about. So when the symptoms do start to show up, they will increase rapidly, and within a year's time, you will die. So this is infectious prionic disease. There are some prionic diseases that are genetic. And those prionic diseases that are genetic, probably the most famous one is familial insomnia. So these are prions that are in the brain, genetic by genes, because your parents gave them to you, and then you can't sleep. Now think about that. I don't sleep very much, right? I was sending somebody a follow-up text last night at 11:30 because that's the first time I had an opportunity to look at it. And I didn't think that individual, Christy, would respond, but evidently they were up also. But that's when I do my good work.
That's when I tell my group, I'm like, sorry.
So when I do my good work is when I'm the room, except the cat is like back here, like hitting me on the head and stuff, play with me. But I do my good work when nobody else is up, and I have all this time to think about things.
Everything's
Except, sports news that's going on because I'm watching that. I gotta keep up with my sports. So it's important to think about. But this is kind of scary, and we didn't have it in Texas for a long time. We now have it in Texas. There's a area around the Uvalde Divine area in, I guess, southwestish kind of Texas, right kind of to the west of San Antonio, that have got an outbreak in access deer. And there's also an outbreak in access deer in the just south of Clark City. So those are the two areas. It's now become important enough that Texas Parks and Wildlife is reporting on it on a monthly basis. So because my wife worked for Texas Parks and Wildlife, that was her career. She gets, and she sends it to me, she gets a monthly report about everything that's going on with wildlife. We like wildlife, we protect it. There's a family of skunks down here that I'm feeding lettuce and carrots to in the mornings when I get here. And I don't get too close, I'm like, here's some lettuce and carrots, let me leave. And then they come and eat it, but I'm like walking away. I don't want to get sprayed by the mom.
Good.
She's pretty aggressive. She showed me her fangs when
Really?
Well, the babies, she protect the babies. They're very cute.
They are.
They remind me of Pepe Le Pew. Which, look at Desiree. She's like, who the hell is Pepe Le Pew? Look up Pepe Le Pew and then find out how cute they are, right? Pepe Le Pew is a skunk that fell, he fell in love with a cat who got painted on the back, and he thinks she's a skunk. So he's trying to woo her, and the cat's like, I don't think so. In certain places of the world, this bovine spongiform encephalopathy, which we call it in humans is the variant form of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. It's a prion disease. But in certain parts of the world, it's known as Kuru. Somebody look up Kuru and tell me what it is. The doc has got fast hands. So somebody look up Kuru and tell me what it is. Because I don't want to tell you, because you won't. If I say it, you won't believe me. If somebody else in the class says it, oh, Nikki's one of us. She's not going to let us astray. And so, if somebody else in the room says it, then you're more likely to believe it than if I say it, because you're not going to believe it.
Look up what?
Kuru.
Like COO.
No, not cuckoo.
KURU.
Rare, fatal, incurable, neurodegenerative disease
How do people get it?
through cannibalism.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, what?
Oh,
See, if I would have said that, you're all like, you lying. But if Nikki says it, everybody's like, oh my God. Did you look? You should have seen the faces of these three ladies right here. They were like, oh. So in certain societies, anthropologically, they believe that if they consume their dead, that their spirit of the dead stays with them forever. They don't be making faces, it's their culture.
where? Which one?
Papua New Guinea.
Well, you remember the airplane that crashed?
Oh, you
Remember on, what, the,
Yeah, but that was a different reason why they ate each other.
Well, I know, but.
Look at Des, she's like, what was that? Des, you need to get out more. She's like, or Jeanette, I want to laugh. And so, you know, this happened, what, in the 80s or something? A
Yeah.
soccer team had a crash
Yeah,
in
they
the
did.
mountains, and they had no, it was cold, they had no
Yeah.
food.
Yeah, so they.
People
ate-
started dying, they started eating the dead to survive.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They didn't even have any barbecue sauce.
Right? I just be ready. Yeah, I was like, I'm ready to meet my maker at that point.
You would starve instead? Yeah, you think that, but no,
Yeah.
it would happen. I'm telling you right now, if we all get stranded on an island, I'm gonna do my best to keep you all alive. But once one of you dies, you become ribs.
I've never done this before.
What? No, And I say that in jest, but I'm pretty sure I would eat one of y'all.
You say that in jest, you're gonna ingest?
If that's cute. What's that?
Weren't there people stranded in the ocean like, I don't know, maybe a decade ago, and they were.
I don't know how you would cook anything on the ocean.
I think they had lives, they had some food, and they were just doing what they could with the people that were dying, like they were eating.
I'm not aware about
I
it.
think that was a movie.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm
I don't
not
think
aware of
it's
that.
true.
How did we get to cannibalism from, prions? Oh, well, I know, it was the.
The coup or whatever, yeah.
So with the Kuru, there is a documentary you can watch. It's on Netflix. It's called Brain Eater. And if you want to watch, if you don't watch it with your kiddos, though. But if you want to watch something that's pretty interesting, it tells the story of this foray group in Papua New Guinea. And they didn't know any better. That was their culture. But a lot of them were sick because there's a hierarchy, and the males are the top of the hierarchy, so they got to eat all the muscles of the bodies, and whatever was left over, the organ meat and the tendons and whatever, would be eaten by the females and by the children. Right. And so we had more cases of prionic disease in the female and the children. Now, we as Latinos, now I know, Rachel, you're not Latino, but you could be an honorary today. Right. So we as Latinos, we have this delicacy that we love called sesos. What's sesos? Okay, we'll go down the line. Sesos? Liver? No. Sesos?
The brain.
Brains.
My parents live.
So we cook the brain. We cook the entire head of the cow, and all of it is edible. Right. I no longer eat brain, although I ate brain
Right.
when I was a little kid. It was because of
Why don't
the
you-
pre,
Does it have
because
the
of the
same
preamps.
texture as like intestines, like when in menudo?
Oh, my nose.
So,
I love it.
stomach lining in menudo.
Right.
Tripas
Fritas.
is the small intestines,
Right.
which is my favorite one of organ meat. Oh, by the way, organ meat used to
Yeah.
be cheap.
Lengua, I
You
love
could buy
lengua.
lengua for
Yes.
like $2, and now it's like 30. Like,
I
what?
know. At Fiesta, yeah.
$30?
Bite your tongue.
Bite your bite.
Bite your lengua.
What has happened is organ meat all of a sudden has become the in thing to eat. And so lots of people are eating organ meat. Oh, because you're thinking about working for.
I was thinking about it, yeah.
But organ meat has become a big thing. Like there's a lot of people out there on TikTok saying, you know, you should eat organ meat. It's really good for you. Well, okay, but some of it tastes really great. Liver is delicious. Lengua is delicious. Stomach lining in menudo.
Yes.
And also tripas. I love tripas lenguadas, you know, a little bit crispy. Oh, delicious. Not healthy for you, but really good.
So comer tortillas.
Oh, don't be God. Do not bring up tacos. I'll go crazy. So, but yeah. And look at Addie, she's like, I want me some tripas. Look at her.
I was thinking of menudo.
Hey, where's the best menudo in town?
My mom.
My mom.
Oh, okay. I don't have access to your mom. So, where would you go? I guess that was funnier than I thought it was.
I don't think you understand. Raunchy.
I'm not sure what happened.
It's the weather.
Hey, June, please edit that. So, I've had a menudo in lots of different places. There's a little bitty restaurant on Congress and 7290. It's right there. It's
Taqueria Chapada.
huh?
Is it Taqueria Chapada?
Well, no, Chapala is one of my favorite, but it's not that one. Which one? And that's what it is. It's
No,
delicious.
it is overpriced.
Oh, it's cheap. It's inexpensive.
No, not now. It's not.
No, I'm saying it's inexpensive.
What was it called?
Yeah, it's right behind the gas station.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The other place is Posada.
Yes.
Where?
That's
Posada
on Westgate.
The Posada is Westgate and
Yes. There's a gateway.
And-
There's
and
a
William Cannon.
trampoline park right
it's
there.
it's good stuff,
So
man. I mean good.
Yeah, the posada is so good.
Yeah.
La posada. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right
No, I
next to
don't know
like
anything
a,
about Bastrop because I'm not there enough.
No, I don't
it's
need it.
Westgate. There's a bamboo bistro in the same shopping center.
It's delicious. Hey, hey, June, have you had menudo?
Noodle?
Menudo. Not noodles. Although you might think it's noodles because it's kind of slimy too. Yeah.
I thought, what is that?
Tripas are intestines of the cow. She's like, hell no.
I love it. I love it.
You do? How do you make it? How do you make it? Like if
They call it tripe when they make it.
Is it like,
cook it up.
No?
It's cooked in the hot water that they put like other noodles and stuff in it also.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty good.
hey, what is it called?
Yeah.
Yeah, as you can tell by my rotundness, I haven't met a type of food I didn't like. So, I love to eat stuff, especially new stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll try it. I haven't met anything I don't like. So that's pretty interesting. Any questions about prions? Yes,
So, I know Florian is something to do with the protein. So does it affect the nerve?
yes.
So, okay, since affect the nerve, those disease like Parkinson's and MS, is that something related to Florian?
That is a beautiful
Nice.
thought. 1 point for everybody on exam. for, because Malka is thinking outside the box. I have for a long time thought that prionic disease was responsible for ALS, for Parkinson's, for dementia, and Alzheimer's, because we see some of the same types of patterns of cognitive decline in the brain. Not the true nervous system, but the brain. But they're called amyloid diseases, and there's a buildup of tau. Tau is a type of protein that is actually associated with the amyloid diseases. And I think there is a link there, but nobody has made that link. I mean, I'm sure other people are thinking about that might be possible, but there is no scientific, that I'm aware of. Somebody look it up real quick and see if I'm wrong. But I would love for that to show up if that's the case, because a prionic disease associated with amyloid diseases.
Yeah, that's ironic, because just yesterday I was, we were watching the new Muppet show, and Christina Applegate was in it, and she has MS, and we talked about brains and stuff, because she was in that show Dead to Me, and they didn't continue it because it's gotten so bad that, she can't even walk.
She was
without
always one
cane.
of the most prettiest
Oh, she
blondes I ever
was.
knew,
Very
besides my
children.
wife. Right, so,
Yeah.
What'd you find out, anybody?
It says prionic diseases are a type of amyloid disease.
I know, but does it say infectious prionic diseases are actually linked to amyloid? That's the question. Because I think that makes a lot of sense.
Are infectious diseases linked to amyloid? Is that what it was?
Infectious prionic diseases, are they linked to me?
Yeah,
Let me see.
closely linked.
Intrinsically linked.
Yeah.
Look what you found out. So there appears to be a link. Not a lot of data, but a link.
Oh.
So many studies. They're studying it.
Yeah. But you can't really just jump on the bandwagon until you see data. But now that gives us an opportunity to maybe hone in on treatments and cures. Yeah. But Malka, I've been thinking about that for a long time also. I'm glad you thought about it also. That's the way I want you all to think. What about this? And what about that? A good scientist has many more questions than they have answers. Okay. Ladies, this is the end of the material for Exami Poo number 3. Exami Poo number 3 will be next Thursday. It is by group. So because Justine had to go to a different class, I moved people, but the cohorts are still whatever they were before, and then you've added Des and Christy to a different cohort. So you'll need to make room for those individuals and open your arms to them and accept them in and make them feel like they're wanted. And you two ladies don't cause too much trouble. Because I know how you are. Okay. So I will put the exam together this weekend after I grade all the exams for the other guys. And then we can have a good review on Tuesday. I will start Unit 4. I wanted to start Unit 4 today, but in 6 minutes I don't think I could do very much. But yeah.
And then this exam is as a group, right?
This what?
As a group.
As a group.
So we can
Just-
talk and discuss, we just have one common answer sheet.
No. Well, each of you will get an exam, but
Uh,
you will only put your answers on one of the exams, and that's the one-off grade. Okay? And everybody get the same grade unless I notice somebody's not working.
Are we gonna be in here or in there?
I have no other place to put us. It's gonna be in here.
Okay.
So what you can do is, these things will move, so you can move them like away, and then you can kind of have room to talk. Like there's one group that can be here, one that can be here, one that can be back there, one that can be here, because there's only 4 of you now.
And it's only the lecture, not the practice, it's just the lecture.
Practical's on by yourself. But the lecture, there's a lot of material here. I mean, more than any other exam. So it's a good opportunity for me to challenge another skill set, which is communication and trust. Because you won't be able to finish it if you want to go through every question as a group. You're going to have to do something else. You're going to have to trust each other. Okay? Good? Questions? Good. So did you all decide that you wanted to write half of the final?
The comprehensive.
Huh?
The comprehensive.
You don't want to write half the final?
I mean, where you did, we do 50 and then you write the.
No, it's 50 total, so you would do 25, I would do 25.
And the other option is just to do the more difficult.
The other option is I'll write them all. I'm really good at writing questions, as you might have already figured out. What does this mean?
No.
What does that mean, no?
We do half and half.
Well, nobody else seems so excited. I have two people going no.
How does it work though, where we submit what?
What I would do is I would like say, hey, cohort 2, you write 5 questions on unit 1. Cohort 3, what else? Cohort 3 anymore. Cohort 4, you write 5 questions on unit 2. Cohort 5, you write 5 questions on unit 5. And then cohort 6, you write 5 questions on unit whatever. And then everybody turns in 1 question on whatever unit's left over.
Okay.
Okay? You have to have 5 responses and they have to be challengeable, right? You can't write a question like this. The gram-positive cell wall is composed of A, oranges, B, bananas, C, the peptidoglycan only, D, tuna, E, calcium. You can't do crazy things like that. You have to actually be something that it could be an answer. I will check them before I accept them. And the ones that I accept, I will give them back to you all, and then you'll have however many that you wrote will be that. So you potentially you walk in the door if you have to take the final. Some of you won't have to, right? It goes like, I mean, there's going to be quite a few that don't have to, but the ones who want to, you can walk in the door with a 50 already.
So the final, it just replaces our lowest grade. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's the only thing it does. It replaces a low
It doesn't
grade.
affect it.
And the Rachel DeWitt rule is that if it's not higher than one of the others, it doesn't count. She negotiated that as your proxy away from you all. I was okay with that, so you should thank her because now she's made it so that it can only help you and not hurt you. But she's the first one to thought about that. She thinks about those all the time. And then she tells me stories like, I didn't do very well on this exam. And she lies every time.
I think we're having this conversation.
You and I had this conversation.
I don't think that was me. I don't think I asked about the compliment.
Was it hard on
I
them?
think I tell you.
It was you?
Because my professors have always done like no matter what, even if it's where your sister goes.
We can do that also if you want.
No.
What?
Yes. She goes, I'll watch one of those old movies if you let me do it this way. Anybody have questions?
Are we gonna do a review on Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah. Would that be okay? I mean, we don't have to if you don't want to.
So our exam 3 is Thursday. What about our lab?
It's the following Monday. Tuesday. Tuesday.
We'll have a review Thursday.
It's the hard one.
What?
The practical 3 is the hard one.
In groups as well.
Like the other
You
two
want
were
me to tell you,
easy?
oh, it's gonna be real easy.
When
No.
are we the quiz if we are having a quiz? Is that for lab?
What kind of quiz?
You said you'll have like a.
One-on-one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's how okay, let's start that. I have a present for you.
Our exam.
This is the protocol for the unknowns. You went to your comadre over there.